Hey everyone, it's Tiqqle, and in this video we're going over Holy Paladin. What we're going to be going over is the combination of overall Paladin abilities that are now on the overall Paladin spellbook page. Then we'll go into the Holy Paladin spells, then we'll go through the talents, and then we'll go through some gameplay of killing some mobs. Now this is kind of the first look, and let me tell you, I am blown away with the fact that Holy Paladin basically got reworked. I did not expect this. It was actually a meme I think I joked around in one of my other videos. They brought back Holy Power, 2 Holy Paladins. And I have to say, it puts that Holy Paladins into a certain niche, and you'll have to make the decision for yourself if you like it or you don't. We'll get to that in the end of the video. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. A quick reminder, we're at level 50. We're not at 120. So 120 will scale down to level 50. Level cap will be 60. There is a item level squish, so we're at around 75 item level. Don't have any of those Azerite powers. Don't have any of those Azerite essences. Oh, yeah. And then our health pool, though, is only like 10k. So, Holy Paladin, oh, man, the amount of changes is overwhelming for Paladin. I did not see this coming. I thought Paladins were in a very good place at the end of BFA. A pretty fun place. I was playing Holy Paladin in a raid. The Glimmer spec was pretty cool. Being able to Holy Shock many people and keep that kind of rolling was pretty cool. And in general, I thought Holy Paladin was in a pretty good place. Not quite sure why they changed it so drastically and brought back in another builder spender component. And of course, you guys probably know I'm main a shaman. They took away the builder spender. So I'm actually very interested in why they added this level of complexity to a class that is a healer, which is already played less than DPS. So with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's go into it. Spellbook is open. We're going into Paladin. As you guys know, class fantasy is back. Class identity is back. Paladins are back, right? So these are all the abilities that are now in the general Paladin tree, or I should say the spellbook page. Avenging Wrath, every Paladin gets it, 2-minute cooldown. Call upon the light to become Avatar of Retribution, increasing the damage healing critical strike chance by 30%. Your first Holy Shock will critically strike. Let me say this before we go any further than this. There are so many changes to Holy Paladin. If I miss any, please put it down in the comments. I will make sure to either make another video or pin that comment. There is a lot of changes, and some of them are very, very subtle. All right, let's keep going. Crusader Strike. Crusader Strike. Oh, you already are seeing it right now. Strikes for a certain amount of damage. Generates 1 Holy Power and max 2. Now, in case you guys aren't familiar, Holy Power was in the game some time ago. I think it was 4 Holy Paladins too. I'm not 100% sure, but basically how it works is you have a resource called Holy Power. You can generate that up until 5 Holy Power. Now you get Holy Power by using certain abilities. You get that up to 5 like combo points if you think about it, and then you can spend them. There are some abilities that spend them, some abilities that build them, and some abilities that don't do either. So just keep that in mind as we keep going. Crusader Strike, and we're already into it, is one of the main abilities on the shortest cooldown, 5-second cooldown recharge rate, to be able to generate this Holy Power. If you think about it, that is a very short cooldown, and this is one of the things that are pushing in I think they're pushing Paladins into a niche role. And it may be okay and flexible for PvE, but in PvP, keep the kind of 2 polar angles in mind as we kind of keep reviewing. All right, Blessing of Freedom gives them immunity to movement and parrying effects. Same thing. Devotion Aura. Party and raid members within 40 yards are bolstered with their defenses, reducing damage taken by 3%. Best Blessing of Protection reduces, makes it so they can't get hit by physical attacks. Bubble, Sack. Sack is now in every single class, which is on Ret Paladin. We'll get to that eventually, don't you worry. By the way, all the other videos will be in the description if I might have already gotten to it by the time you're watching this. Divine Steed. Divine Steed puts me on a charger, and I charge into the distance. Now that is actually, I think this is also, yep, this is across all the Paladins. This tab means all these are more or less are across all the Paladin specs. Okay, cool. Consecration, Flash of Light, Crusader Aura. Oh, yeah. Devotion Aura, Crusader Aura. Yeah. If you guys didn't know this, if you guys didn't play the game back then, they brought back the Aura bar. This means that I can have one of these auras up at any time. It's also because in the talents, they took away the other auras, like Aura of Mercy, Aura of Sacrifice. This is how you do it. And which we'll just touch on those really quick. Devo Aura is down here. I have it up. Right. Crusader Aura, which is so good, dude. I think it was back in Burning Crusade that first came out. I do love this one. Increases the mount speed by 20% for all party and raid members within 40 yards. It's not a game-breaking thing, but it's pretty darn cool. Next is Retribution Aura. This used to be different. This used to do damage, I think, reflecting damage when you got hit back in BC, but this now says when all party or raid members within 40 yards die, you will gain Avenging Wrath for 8 seconds. So if your party member dies or your raid member dies in a raid or a dungeon or a Mythic Plus, you will get Avenging Wrath, which is increases your healing, your crit, and your damage. Kind of interesting. Kind of weird, to be honest, but that's okay. Avenging Wrath kind of makes sense to go with an aura like Retribution Aura. So you think of those abilities together, kind of makes sense. Hammer of Justice, a 5-6-second stun is on everyone. Hammer of Wrath, this is an execute-related ability. Hurls a divine hammer and strikes the target for 430 holy damage. Isn't that much, but it's okay. I'm starting to gauge the number of damage because I've looked at so many numbers, and you will get into the damage numbers themselves too. But anyway, only usable on enemies that have less than 20% health. This is an execute, and it used to be a really big deal. Now it's we'll see. We'll test it out a little bit. Hand of Reckoning. This is a taunt. Land hands. This heals a huge heal. Res, the aura we just talked about. Shield of the Righteous. This is new. This is new, and it is usable by Holy Paladins because it's across all Paladins, and Holy Paladins generally use a shield, right? Slams the enemies in front of you with a shield, causing 233 damage and increasing your armor by a certain amount. Pretty cool, actually. Pretty cool. This is a frontal cone in front of you, slamming multiple targets in front of you. I mean, we're going to do damage as a Holy Paladin. We're going to do damage. So that's pretty cool, actually. And then also costs 3 Holy Power. So it is a dump for your Holy Power. If you've noticed, guys, there hasn't been a dump of Holy Power here yet. The only thing that has dumped Holy Power is that so far. Next, Turn Evil. This is a CC, actually. The Power of Light compels an undead, aberration, or demon target to flee. I hope it works on Demon Hunters. I know it won't, though. Disorienting them for 40 seconds. Only one target can be turned at a time. That's fine. It's actually pretty cool. 15-second cooldown, and it doesn't up says 40 seconds. Yeah, so I don't think it'll work on PvP, but PvE, kind of cool. All right, Word of Glory heals, calls the light upon a target, healing them for 900. This costs 3 Holy Power. This is something that used to be in the game as well. I think it was a ret talent maybe in BFA. I'm not totally sure, but it's interesting. This is now going to be a spender for your Holy Power. So just to recap, based on just the Paladin tree alone here, the Paladin spellbook, your builder is Crusader Strike. Your spender is Shield of the Righteous if you want to do damage, Holy Word of Glory if you want to do healing. That's how it works out. Now let's go ahead and go into the Holy Paladin specific tree. Now the Holy Paladin specific tree, we have Holy Shock. Holy Shock is that's the core of Holy Paladins, Shockadins, all of the stuff that have been kind of all throughout the ages, right? Burst of Light healing the target, healing them for 344 It could do 344 holy damage to a target or 630 healing to an ally. It has an additional 30% crit chance. And when it crits, it gives you a passive. The passive is Infusion of the Light. This has changed. So Holy Shot can generate 1 Holy Power, and it can give you a buff if it crits. That buff is Infusion of Light. This has changed, and this is a big deal. This one's a big deal. Your critical Holy Shocks reduce the cast time of your next Flash of Light by 30%, or increase the healing of your next Holy Light by 30%. The reason this is a big deal is that this is actually the flipped version of this is in BFA. In BFA, if you Holy Shock and you get the proc, it makes your Holy Light cast time go down significantly, or it makes your Flash of Light heal for a bunch more. So just keep that in mind. So Infusion of Light now makes your Flash of Light, you're already fast heal, cast faster, and it's the expensive fast heal, and then it makes your already long casted big heal for more. And if we look at the heals themselves, this is Holy Light heals for 1000. This is Flash of Light heals for 750. So interesting move, Blizzard. Interesting move. I'm not really sure why they did that. I thought it was actually a nice flow before, but so be it. This is Mass Res. This is Aura Mastery, empowers your chosen aura for 8 seconds. Retribution Aura, Avenging Wrath duration increase. All right, so that's because I have that one selected. If I go to Diva Aura, I highlight this, damage reduction by 15%. That's pretty good AoE. Crusader Aura, mount bonus speed by 60%. What a meme. That is funny. All right, Judgment. And by the way, Holy Power or Holy Shock is a builder for Holy Power. I'm going to keep kind of harping on this, guys, because this is a new system for Holy Paladins, and this is a big deal. Judgment judges the target, dealing 750 damage and causing the target to take 30% increased damage from your next Crusader Strike or your Holy Shock. And guys, remember, we don't have Azerite powers. We don't have Azerite essences. That's a big deal because there was an Azerite powered Indomitable something that Holy Paladins were stacking in PvP that was making Judge hit for a ton of damage. That's now gone, so this is now going to be scaling incredibly. It's just going to be your spellbook and your talents. So remember that. BFA was confusing because of the amount of things that changed your abilities, changed your spells. In Shadowlands, that is not the case so far. So far, it is just read your spellbook, read your talents, play the video game, which is freaking awesome. On to the next. Beacon of Light. The reason I'm going to go through all these guys also is because some of them have changed very subtly, and I do not want to miss anything for you guys. There are a lot of changes, and it is very hard to understand the current postings of these changes. So we're going to go through each and every one. Beacon of Light, wrap a single ally with holy energy, causing your heals on the party or and your heals on other party or raid members to also heal the ally for 50% of the amount healed. This used to be 40%, so it got a buff. Healing this target directly with Flash of Light or a Holy Light grants you 1 holy power. So that's another way to generate holy power. If you're healing that target, you're generating holy power. If you're holy shocking, you're generating holy power. Light of Dawn. Light of Dawn costs 3 holy power. That's a freaking lot. And it only heals 5 injured allies within 15 yards in a frontal cone. I can't even use it right now. Next, Cleanse. Yep, this is poison, disease, and magic. Light of the Martyr, sacrifice a portion of my health to instantly heal an ally for 850 HP. You take damage equal to 50% of the healing done. Does not cause your Beacon of Light to be healed. That's pretty much the same. Divine Protection. This is another one that is the same. Reduces all damage you take by 20% for 8 seconds on a 1-minute cooldown. This is a big one, but we're not going to talk about this yet. We're not at the talents yet. Next, Holy Light. Holy Light is a long cast, man. It's a longer cast. Heals for about 1,000. Shorter cast, Flash of Light. Heals for a lot less. All right. Mastery is the same as it was in BFA. They increase healing done by up to a certain amount based on the proximity you are to the target. Okay? Saved by the Light. This is a passive. When an ally with your Beacon of Light is damaged below 30% health, they absorb the next 1,300 damage. You can not shield the same target twice this way within 1 minute. Okay. All right, gamers. Oh, we actually forgot one thing, guys. Because we're level 50, we're not at a cap. There is another set of skills that might be able to be learned by your class, and these are the ones that are able to be learned by a Paladin. I didn't touch on this, so let's go back. These are Paladin overall. Concentration Aura. This is different than it used to be, I believe, so pay attention. Interrupt and silence effects on the party and raid members within 40 yards are 30% shorter. Meaning, if your healers get, if you're in a raid and your healers get interrupted by a raid mechanic, that silence or that interruption is 30% less. If you're in PvP and you're playing double caster and you're playing with a Holy Paladin, guess what? If they get interrupted, that interruption will only be 70% of what it would have been. So that's pretty good. Sense Undead. Show the location of nearby undead on the minimap. Okay, that's okay. Retribution Aura. This will increase the amount of time that you have the Avenging Wrath. And then Hammer of Wrath. Hammer of Wrath may be used on any target during Avenging Wrath. So if you pop your wings, Avenging Wrath, you can just throw the hammer out there. So that's it, guys. That's it for the abilities. Now you have to let's just recap really quick what the builders and the spenders are for this class now, because it's a huge deal. We have Crusader Strike, that's in melee range. We have to build. You have Holy Shock, which is at range to build. You also have heals that on your beacon target. Casted heals. Those are your builders. Those are your 3 builders. Now, spenders. Your spenders are Light of Dawn, which is an AoE frontal cone, right? You also have Word of Glory, which is a single target heal. Or you have Shield of the Righteous, which is a damaging ability in a frontal cone in front of you. So you have an AoE heal. You have Word of Glory, AoE heal. You have a single target heal. Sorry. You have Light of the Dawn, AoE heal. You have Word of Glory, single target heal. You have damage and armor with Shield of the Righteous. All of them cost 3 holy power, which I find kind of interesting. But yeah, so that's what it is. Those are your builders. Those are your spenders, and so you have to think a little bit, okay? Because Holy Shock is on an 8-second cooldown. Heals are casted, so maybe that's how you're generating these abilities. So that's going to be every 2 seconds or something. But the biggest thing I think for building Holy Power will be Crusader Strike. You're going to be able to spam that in melee range to generate those free no mana heals. Because if you look, these heals do not cost mana. Word of Glory does not cost mana. So you may want to use that to maintain your mana advantage, but at the cost of being in melee range. Very interesting. So what we'll do now, guys, let's jump over to the talents. For the talents, these are also very different. Some of them are the same, but a lot of them are different. And even if you think Fist of Justice is the same, it's not. So let's just jump right into it. So, Crusader's Might. This is actually the same. Crusader Strike reduces the cooldown of Holy Shock. So these are your two builders kind of working together so that you can get a lot of momentum going. Bestow Faith is still the same, putting a hot on someone. Light's Hammer, you throw down a hammer, it does damage and healing to nearby enemies. Saved by the Light, this is a new one. This is when your ally, this is a new one. I already read it earlier. When an ally with your beacon is damaged below 30% health, they get a shield for 1.3k, which is about 10-12% of their HP. So that Judge of the Light, Judgment causes your next 25 attacks to heal the target that's hitting that. Holy Prism, similar, still in the game, not really anything changed here. Fist of Justice, this has changed. It used to be when you use Judgment, it reduces the cooldown on Hammer of Justice. No, now it's each Holy Power spent reduces the remaining cooldown on Hammer of Justice by 2 seconds. That means if you use a single spender, they all cost 3 Holy Power. That means it will go down by 6 seconds each time. So you have to think, now you're starting to see some synergy between Crusader's Might for your builders and your and to be able to spend more for this to be able to be put on cooldown for PvP, right? Repentance is exactly the same. Force an enemy to target to meditate, incapacitating them for 1 minute. Blinding Light, same thing. Unbreakable Spirit, this is now, I'm pretty sure this is across all specs. This reduces the cooldown of your bubbles and your land hands and your divine protection. Cavalier, this is for all specs as well. This is giving your steed 2 charges, I believe. Rule of Law, increasing the range of your heals and increasing the range of your mastery. Divine Purpose has been reworked. This is Holy Power abilities have a 15% chance to make your next Holy Power ability free and deal 20% increased damage or healing. Now, what would those things be? Your next Holy Power ability free. Yeah, I think this means your spender, actually, because your spenders are Light of Dawn, Word of Glory, and Shield of the Righteous. So maybe they're talking Shield of the Righteous for damage, because your shock is not that. Anyway, moving on. This one has also been reworked. Your Holy Power generation is tripled for 20 seconds, meaning if you use a Crusader Strike, you will get 3 Holy Power. Then you can spend it. If you use Crusader Strike again, you will get 3. Then you'll spend it. It is a very interesting way to have a cooldown for healing, right? Then you can start spamming some Word of Glories, maybe to heal your target up, or some AoE heals through spamming Crusader Strike, Light of Dawn, Crusader Strike, Light of Dawn, Holy Shock, Light of Dawn, etc. Seraphim, the light magnifies your power for 15 seconds, granting haste, burst, crit, mastery. That's that's just secondary stats. Sanctified Wrath, Avenging Wrath lasts 25% longer, reduces the Holy Shot cooldown. That's standard. Avenging Crusader, this is melee wings. You become an ultimate Crusader of Light, increasing the critical strike, judgment, and auto attack damage by 30%. Crusader Strike and Judgment cooldown 30% faster and heal up to injured targets based on their damage. Light of Dawn has a 15% chance to grant you Avenging Wrath for 10 seconds. This might actually be more viable because we may be using the AoE heals in raids more. So that's interesting. Glimmer of Light, this used to be an Azurite trait. And remember, we don't have Azurite traits, we don't have essences, we don't have any of that junk anymore. What we have is just our spells, just our talents for now. I don't know what we'll be at max level, but that's what we have for now. Glimmer of Light used to be a Azurite power. It was very popular. There was a very cool build. I even was trying it recently to raid heal, where you would put Glimmer, which was the thing. Every time you Holy Shock a target, it puts a Glimmer on them, and then if you Holy Shock anything else, it will heal that target. So that's pretty much what they've captured into this talent, or more or less. Holy Shock leaves a Glimmer of Light on the target for 30 seconds. When you Holy Shock, all targets with Glimmer of Light are damaged for 72 or healed for 125. You may have up to 8 glimmers. It's pretty cool. I actually like that they included this. It is a very cool playstyle, but what it is it's a melee healing playstyle. You have to be hitting the boss with your Crusader's Might, which allows your Crusader Strike to reduce the cooldown on Holy Shock. So now, I think you may, if you're sitting there listening to this, you may start seeing the picture that I'm drawing. this builder spender and the glimmer aspect is a very, very melee healing setup. Now, it seems like it could be interesting for PvE, though it would be risky, I think, in some Mythic Pluses, because they're going to have to be right in the fray to be able to get the max momentum going. I'm not saying you cannot cast heals like Flash of Light and Holy Light. I'm just saying that based on these talents and based on Builder Spender and your most efficient way to build Holy Power being Crusader Strike, I'm just saying. Virtue applies a beacon of target to your beacon of light to your target and 3 injured allies within 30 yards for 8 seconds. All affected allies will be healed for 50% of the amount of your other healing done. Your flash of light and holy light on these targets will also generate 1 holy power. Interesting again, spreading that out. That's a lot of targets with beacon, and it kind of hint to the point that you will be able to generate more holy power that way by just through casting. So that's pretty much the talents, guys. I mean, this is very different. I was not expecting this. Blizzard kind of pulled a fast one because, to be frank, I thought Paladins were in a very good spot. They were in, like, very strong. I don't know if this is a nerf to Paladins, but this rework is a little surprising to me. I don't know if this is related to the Mythic Plus situation with them. I don't know if they're not viable and they're trying to bring them into the fold. Put it down in the comments, guys, why you think they made such a drastic change. But anyway, let us go into a little bit of testing here with you guys to show you what it looks like. Now, here's the deal. I'm a male Draenei because I'm sexy, but I'm going to beacon myself, right? And then if I cast heals on myself, this will generate holy power. So I'm generating holy power, right? Maybe I'm going to need to use Flash of Light more, but it does use my mana a lot more. So I'm generating this holy power, holy power, holy power. Now I can run in and I could use an attack, but let's not do that. I can use Word of Glory on myself, healing me, right? And now I only have 2, and so on. So what we'll do now is let's go ahead and just try to damage some stuff. And what I understood when I was streaming this, people were saying that Holy Paladins do a lot of damage. Well, yeah, I guess I could see that because Shield of the Righteous is going to potentially do some damage. I'm going to be spending globals on Crusader Strike to generate holy power. I'm going to be spending Holy Shocks potentially on damage to generate holy power. Okay. So right now, to me, with all of that baked in as a solo class, sure, maybe this makes Holy Paladin seem like a pretty decent, like, kind of melee. I can also Consecrate if I want to. I can Holy Shock. I'm going to use Shield of the Righteous. It is pretty satisfying to be honest. They execute. I can execute them as a Holy Paladin. Okay, so I'm now hands-on dirty, pretty much. The other thing to note is that Shield of the Righteous is off the global, which actually makes it feel pretty nice because I do really, really like Prot Paladin tanking from BFA. I haven't tried it in Shadowlands yet, but I like that there are abilities that are off global, on global. Keeps your rotation fresh, keeps your buttons, the actions per minute that you can do pretty high, and that makes it a fun class to play. So I'm just kind of killing shit. I mean, I'm not really healing, obviously, and I'm not healing a dungeon, but this is kind of what I'm seeing as probably what's going to happen in Raid, because if I'm going to be wanting to generate and use, like, let's say, Word of Glory to heal myself, I should be in here Crusader Striking. Judgment if I want to increase my damage. And my damage is pretty good. 900 damage you just saw with a Holy Shot crit. That is actually a respectable number. If you've seen any of my other videos about damage numbers, you will be a little surprised that a Holy Paladin is doing that type of damage. So let's just say, you know, if I'm in a raid situation here, Holy Light, dude, Holy Light is a very long heal. And it heals for a lot, and its mana is decent. Like, if I look at the mana cost is 360 compared to Flash of Light 440. It's not that big. That's 30% more, but to me, what I'm concerned about with this class and this setup is honestly the fact that I feel compelled to be in melee range. If I wasn't going to be in melee range, if I was just going to be a back of the barn healer, I probably wouldn't take Crusader's Might, but everything else I probably would. 15%, yeah. I probably would take the rest of these things. I probably couldn't take Glimmer. I'd probably have to use Beacon of Virtue or Beacon of Faith. I I would probably go, maybe I wouldn't be able to go Light of Dawn. It would be much different. I think, you know, the way that this is currently set up is I'm very much in the fray, and I'm going to be healing my raid. I'm going to be healing my party, but I'm going to be generating those holy powers by Crusader Strike and by Holy Shocking, potentially as damage. I like that, and I don't like that. I like that because in PvE, that could make Holy Paladin pretty fun to play. I personally think managing a healer and looking at your team and trying to keep them alive is a job in itself. I think that making the class a little too complex is probably not the play to get people to heal more or to get people to play a class more. If, like, for example, if Holy Paladin turns out to be the best healer in Shadowlands, I personally don't necessarily think people will go to it. I mean, some people will, but if it's not really... It's not digestible to me right now. As a healer, I'm concerned that that's a big problem. It's not 100% straightforward. What I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. Now, some people might look at that statement and say, hey, good. Should be a little complex. Make those Holy Paladins good players, blah, blah, blah. But I'm a little concerned because I don't like the idea of bringing back builder spenders for healers. I just don't know. If I was going to be a healer, which I did main Arch Shaman for a while, I don't really think that if Arch Shaman suddenly got a builder spender, I probably wouldn't want to play it. Now, I think that it is a cool playstyle that is possible in a raid because you're getting Glimmer, because you're getting Crusader's Might. Like, a lot of these things are really cool, but then you have to kind of layer on top the fact that you're going to have to be spending a holy power and thinking about how that rotation works on top of your holy shock rotation to spread glimmers on top of your, like, there's a lot then. I think that is too complex to me. And that's kind of my feedback for Blizzard here. Are they cool? Are they unique? They sure are. They sure are. Think about going against a mage and a destro as a holy paladin. You're going to be in the back. You're going to be casting your heals on your target, right? You're going to be like, hey, yeah, I got your back, dude. I'm backing you up. And let's say I can't even heal NPCs. Let's say you're in the back, you know, you're healing, you're casting heals on your teammates, and let's say you don't have quite enough throughput, and you know that if you could get some free globals on the Crusader strikes, maybe that would make the difference because you need to get those holy Word of Glories out. Word of Glory healing for 900 is actually more than Flash of Light, so it is probably important to get those rolling. So the only generation method I see is you're going to have to, let's go ahead, let's go ahead and just start healing myself. You know, you're going to have to be healing your target, and then you're going to have to dump Word of Glory. If you're going to be using Holy Light, which is really what you only used in PvP previously, you know, because the reason you only used Holy Light was because of PvP talents, making it pretty much the only thing you could, and Flash of Light would make you go, oom. So if you're doing that in the back row and you just cannot get enough momentum, you're going to have to run in there. You're going to have to run in there against a mage and a warlock. And I'm sorry, but that is a rough necessity that you may need to do. And if that is the case, and of course we're not at 60 yet, we're not, we haven't worked out how this is going to look like in a raid setting. There hasn't been raid testing yet, right? But if you're forced, if it gets to the point where you're forced to have to be in melee range, that is a very rough situation. And maybe it's only on certain cooldowns, like maybe it is only when you pop Holy Avenger. Maybe things will be a little bit different, but I am concerned, and the Paladins that were on the stream were very concerned that this will be you will have to be a melee boy. And that is that's what's concerning to me, is I know there's a lot of Holy Paladin mains out there, and if they have to be melee, they probably just won't be a Paladin, to be honest, if you have to be in melee range to get the momentum going. And then maybe you think, hey, you know what, that could be a cool, fun way to be an aggressive healer in a 3v3 arena. You're not wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I think it will be very complex. I think it will be very hard to ult that healer versus any other healer that doesn't have to do that type of thing, because no one else has a combo point like setup. I mean, druids have a skill cap. There's a skill ceiling for druids where they can get combo points in Feral Affinity, and then they're going to be able to maim, and there's stuff there, but that is not core healing. Shamans, what can shamans do? They can cast Lava Burst. That's about it. Monks, they can go Way of the Crane. If they do that, then it is offensive, but that, again, that's a cooldown. That is similar to melee wings. This is different, and I'm a little concerned that they went a little too far with including Holy Power. I am personally not a fan of that for for Holy. Unfortunately, I did start playing Holy a lot in BFA kind of towards the end. But yeah, that's it. So guys, I went on a kind of a huge rant there at the end, but I wanted to go through the Paladin changes for the overall class skills. I wanted to go over the Holy changes, which is massive. This is one of the most changed classes. Behind Enhanced Shaman, I would put Holy Paladin as the most changed class in Shadowlands. Huge, significant base class design changes with tons of talents, ton of skill changes, and they got Crusader Aura, so we're memeing it up pretty strong. So with that being said, guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank you so much for hanging out. We will be on stream every day, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you then. Come by, ask questions. Let's go and test some things live together. That's where I've found out a lot of different tips and tricks for a lot of different classes I've been posting about. But until then, guys, take care, stay safe. See you later.